we're responding to the current circumstances around us, what our options are. In 1 Samuel chapter 30, we learn that David and his army had returned home to find their homes destroyed and their families kidnapped by enemies. After they sat down and wept until they couldn't weep anymore, we read in that passage that the men were beginning to talk about killing their leader, King David. In fact, we read this in particular. David was greatly distressed because the men were talking of stoning him. Each one was bitter in spirit because of his sons and daughters. But David found strength in the Lord his God. Now, the question that remains for us is this: how did David find strength in the Lord his God? Now, while that might seem to be an imposing question, there's a great deal of history on the life of King David recorded in the Bible, as well as many of his songs and prayers preserved for us in the book of Psalms. It's from some of these sources that we might be able to reconstruct what David could have done in this situation. In a previous time recorded in the same book of 1 Samuel, David not only learned of a plan that Saul, the current king in Israel, had concocted to trap him and his men and kill them, but he had learned of the willingness of those that he had served and rescued to betray him in the process. Discouraged and depressed, we read in 1 Samuel chapter 23 that while David was at Horesh in the desert of Ziph, he learned that Saul had come out to take his life. And Saul's son David, Jonathan, went to David at Horesh and helped him find strength in God. Now, what we learn from this instance is that finding strength in the Lord is often, if not always, something that requires a friend who shares in the same relationship with God. Community relationships in the faith are critical in being strengthened in the Lord. It's with the help of friends like this that we are often reminded of God's faithfulness, His love and mercy toward us, and we're urged to trust Him, to listen to His word, and to rest in Him. Most importantly, strength in the Lord our God, we learn, comes through joy. Now, I admit, there's nothing more crazy sounding than this, but think about it. In the book of Nehemiah, we read these words of encouragement: "Do not grieve, for the joy of the Lord is your strength." Now, while these words have perplexed many Bible students much better than me, at face value, we have to recognize that for those who walk with the Lord, joy is a choice, and it is intimately connected to finding strength in the Lord our God. So here's what I think David did in some of his darkest hours. He took his focus and attention off the situation and people around him, maybe with the help of a friend or two, and he set them on the Lord. He recalled previous works of the Lord in his life and what he had learned about His nature and the character of God, and he started praising Him accordingly. Just try it. Stop scrolling through your social media feed. Shut down the internet news sites. Turn off the television and lift your eyes, the eyes of your heart, to the heaven where Jesus is enthroned above. It doesn't take special training, just simple intention and follow through. Recall the things that He has done in your life, the life of your family and your friends, your church. Think about the things you have come to know about the Lord, His goodness and greatness, His power, mercy, grace, love, and kindness. Stay with Him for a while and pour out your heart to Him. What you're likely to find as you pour yourself out, you empty your soul before the throne, is that you are filled with His strength. You won't regret it. And hopefully, you'll want to share it. In fact, if you want, share it with me. And even with one another by commenting on whatever feed you happen to be viewing this on, or by posting it as a praise on the prayer wall through our TGP app or on our website. And then rest in the blessing of God. He loves you desperately. God bless you. And I'll look forward to seeing you Sunday as we continue